Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
I'm realizing to immediately post this drink is the loudest possible drink, and it's going to be very hard for me to to drink it on air because there are probably 100 ice cubes in this thing of Dr. Pepper. So
I think that, first of all, I think it would be rude for us to not stay hydrated.
True.
So don't come for us. And also, I think that every time that you hear Cody sipping, just take a nice sip yourself.
Yeah, it's a bev check, notice. You know? Right, yeah. It's like we're drinking together.
Right. Welcome to Into the Twilight.
Hey.
We talk about cursed stuff in so many different varieties.
In any form.
And I think more than ever, that is appropriate this week.
Yes, we're gonna dive into some runes and and riddles.
I'm gonna get into this in about 15 minutes, but there are so many reasons why if I ever see Matt Reeves in public, I'm gonna smack the absolute shit out of this man. I am
That's your teaser, folks. Stick around. It's gonna go ham.
I'm just gonna punch him in the throat or the ear or both. I don't know.
All over.
I'm just like Kirby. I'm just gonna inhale him, and so no one has to deal with him again. I will take the.
But Allie, no, you have to become Matt Reeves.
Oh fuck, no. Okay. I'll just stick with the punching thing. Fuck this dude. God, I'm so pissed. But yeah, the Batman today is really everything that we talk about. It's cryptic.
Yes.
It's bad relationships in every form.
Men who don't want to go to therapy.
It's eyeliner.
Yes.
It's gay.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which is everything that we do here. So stay tuned.
It's kind of our bread and butter. Yeah.
It really is. It's our bread and butter. That's for fucking truth. Cody, how are you?
I'm vibing. I'm doing pretty good. My happy thing is also in the cursed realm, in a way, because I watched the Abercrombie and Fitch documentary.
Oh my god. Okay. Tell me, because I haven't watched it.
It's quite good. I thought it was going to be like a show. It's just like a full regular doc, which was a nice little surprise because not everything needs to be 5 hours of looking at a company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People kind of clowned on it on Twitter for a while because they do spend like 4 American minutes talking about what a mall is.
I have seen this on Twitter.
Right, and using the phrase like, it's like a, what if the internet was real? Yeah, like a catalog. And you're just like, you can walk through a catalog online, but in real life. And that is, made me feel 4,000 years old. Right, I mean, it's not like incorrect, but it's like, I think malls still also exist. I don't know, whatever. The shit that I was glad they didn't shy away from was like all of the racist shit. Mm-hmm. They like printed on their t-shirts. And also, this whole thing of being like, yeah, we're gonna like, we don't make clothes for everybody. We make clothes for hot, cool people. And we only hire hot, cool people kind of vibe. And all the lawsuits and everything like that. Very, very good to get into. This one dude who was the helm of it, like, said all those things out loud, where like all other CEOs or whatever were thinking that but never said it, and he said that very specifically and directly, and he was like, what are you gonna do? Like, sorry. And it's wild. Like, they get like a fuck ton of people that like used to work at Abercrombie stores, and like people who used to work at like the design part of it.
There was an article that was sent to our email that was like, here's a listicle of all of the celebrities who were Abercrombie and Fitch models before they were famous.
Oh my god, I fucking buried the lead. They have a photo of Kellen Lutz in the intro of this movie doing a fucking Abercrombie campaign.
Okay, so can you confirm for me a couple of people?
Yes, sure.
So one you just confirmed, so thank
Yes.
you. One that was on this listicle as well was the titular, Penn Badgley.
That is also correct, yes.
Okay. The other, Jamie Dornan.
Yes.
The next one, this is just for fun. This has nothing to do with Into the
With
Twilight.
our show.
The love of my life, Channing Tatum.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what about Nikki Reed?
Ooh, maybe?
I remember the listicle saying, like, she did some modeling work in, like, it was like 2004 or something, which would have been very peak 13.
Oh my god. Okay, I found the photo. I'm gonna I'm gonna try this.
Oh my god.
She's like on a motorcycle.
On a rusted motorcycle. She's a literal baby. That was
She's a child in this. Yeah. This is way too sexual.
But yeah, I remember walking by Abercrombie and Fitch, and even as like a middle schooler, knowing you don't have my size. Like
Right.
I play sports. I have thick thighs. You do not have clothes for me.
Right.
And the way that they were like proud of that was
Right.
something that, and a lot of the popular stores back then, was so damaging to me as a kid. And the way that I thought I was the problem, because that's what they made you think, right? It's like, you're the problem, not us, not the people who can actually do something about it.
Right. No. It's you. You're bad. And you're
bad. But yeah, that's interesting, because I had thought about watching it, because I had seen some people talking about it, but you have sold me on it, so thank you.
Yeah, if nothing else, you have a great montage of literally all those people.
Literally all of them.
In a very quick succession. So would recommend. Very fun.
Also, she was like 13. Sorry, I'm still on this Nikki Reed photo.
Right.
She's still like, she was like a literal child in this. Why is she wearing an engagement ring?
That's a great question.
What was the thought for this whole photo shoot?
What was the art direction here?
we want Nikki Reed in a baby doll tee, boot cut jeans, an engagement ring, on a rusted motorcycle. Like, okay, sure.
I love it. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm alive.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you for that.
You know, nevertheless, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's something. Contrary to what you all think, I did bring a TV show this week as my
Ooh,
thing.
What a surprise.
Just really switching it up here.
Everyone doubted you, and you said no. Watch me.
The show that I'm bringing to space is Minx. That's
Hell
what
yeah.
I'm bringing to space.
Nice.
I very recently finished 2 shows and was like, well, fuck, what do I do? I'm done with the morning show, done with Euphoria. What I need something to watch, because Survivor's only once a week, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And I need to kind of like temper out Temptation Island. So I saw, unfortunately, stills of Jake Johnson on Twitter.
That's how it always starts.
Which is how the worst stories in my life always start. Of him in what looked like 70s clothing, and he had full facial hair, and my stomach sank.
Right.
And I knew I was gone.
I knew I was fucked.
I didn't know anything about the show. It just said, this is Jake Johnson and Minx. And I said, okay, done. Great.
Got it.
I
Don't
know
even
exactly
no
what
further
I'm gonna
questions. Yeah.
watch. Which, ultimately, should have probably known a little bit about the show, but that's fine.
Sure.
If that is enough for you, like it was for me, great, you're gonna have an awesome time. If you would like to know a little bit more, the log line of this is about the creation of Playgirl-esque. It's based in 1970s LA. It's starring this like young feminist who like really cares about the world in 1970s, like very, very 1970s feminism too. And she like wants to create this like very angry magazine, and realizes unfortunately that's not going to sell. So enter Playgirl, essentially. And it is fucking hilarious. The cast is great.
Right.
So many people that like I knew from other stuff, but it's like it's hilarious, and also is getting a point across, and everyone is just hot for no goddamn reason other than
Hell
they're
yeah.
just hot.
It's the beautiful thing about setting something in the 70s. Everyone's just going to be
know.
hot and wear the coolest clothes.
And I've been told, I haven't gotten this far, but I have been told that it gets a little gay, a little
fruity. A little, ooh.
I'm loving it, essentially.
Yeah,
It's
it looks,
making me very
everything I've seen from it, of like screenshots and stuff, looks fabulous. So, and this is definitely my vibe. So I am very interested to watch.
Yeah, I would definitely like it's a good fucking pilot. So
Yeah.
I would give it a shot. It's a quick watch. It's not, I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's like heavy, you know, especially coming off for
Sure.
me of like Euphoria. It's like a
Right,
very
yeah.
different vibe.
The barometer's a little to the left there, you know.
Like it's still talking about like, you know, heavy shit because it's talking
Right.
about like heavy issues from the 1970s, but
Yeah.
in a very different way than something like Euphoria is,
Yeah.
right? I don't know that you can get I think that for me Euphoria is on the very end of my like heaviness scale. It's like that and The Leftovers. So
Right.
I think I can anything else is like scaling that back. So it's a good goof and gag.
Love it.
Highly
I love
recommend
that.
A lot of the current events that we have tie in with the Batman,
The Batman.
but I feel like it would be remiss to not talk about what you shared on Twitter for us this week, because I think it really sets the tone for the piece.
Right, for the art.
Because we've talked
yeah.
a lot about Rob's difficulties getting into the suit itself.
Right. And all the things he's done on set. And the
And the
wacky
car.
stories. And the car.
And-
Yeah.
And the Newtons. And I think that he also like, I think that he also got like injured with his shoulder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This was a very odd set
Right.
for the
A
Batman.
lot of funky things happening. And also, I will say, before we get into like analysis and stuff, now that I've seen like the actual suit in motion, like not
Yeah.
in the darkness of the trailer or whatever, I get it. That shit looks horrible. It looks so uncomfortable and bad.
I agree, 100%.
But anyway.
But knowing the context now, could you tell us about what you shared on Twitter?
Yeah, this week, I gotta give credit to the fan account, Just R. Pattinson. Thank you for your service. Who posted, it goes even deeper. It was from Whitney Savage. Okay, so this is a couple rabbit holes of videos here. But this person named Whitney, thank you, Whitney, tweeted out this video in which Rob is getting his jewel essentially confiscated from Matt Reeves.
Like a fucking 13-year-old.
Like he's in high school and he got caught vaping, except he's on a set for a like $100 million movie.
Yep.
Inside a giant bat suit. First of all, I appreciate that because I think the last time, because we've talked about Robert's vaping habits previously, which is a fun thing for us to be historians on. When we were talking about that one article during around like when High Life came out, and the author who interviewed him described him as having like ninja like precision or whatever with his giant vape, and it was like one of those hog vapes where it was like huge. There's no way that can fit in a bat suit, and so he's just like, all right, let me take my little thumb drive, wink.
Jesus
just
Christ.
just like put it in, because listen, that thing has so many pockets, you got only so many gadgets in there. Let Batman vape.
Oh my god.
This movie would have been 100% better if at one point he just fucking vaped for like a second.
Can you imagine, like, the beginning of this movie, when that weird politician at the very beginning, where it, like, it starts off and Paul Dano, like, you just see his glasses in the reflection. Can you imagine if there had just been a vape cloud? Oh, God. That would have gone from being scary to just embarrassing and honestly relatable to, like, his character.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's so on brand to Robert that, like, this man is a millionaire in very prestige movies. I would be surprised if in the next couple of years is not nominated for an Academy Award.
Sure.
And will still be told by, like, everyone on set, like, oh yeah, he's a fucking menace. And not
He's a freak.
a freak, right? Like, not in a way where he is, like, unsafe to people around him.
Right.
But just like, yeah, we just have to like take his jewel from him. Like,
right.
He's just like really like he just makes our job harder in a way that's like a child.
Yeah, just like he's an actual child.
Like, we just can't let him drive cars because he'll just be like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, he'll just take it away for 20 minutes.
Right. Oh my god, I cannot with this dude.
This man.
So we had been talking about this movie for 2 years now.
Yeah, seems like it.
Because it got delayed, and then we needed to be able to wait for it to be streaming.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you saw a Batman movie of
Ooh.
any kind?
That's a good question. I'm assuming we're not including the Joker. Yeah, I'm sorry, Joker, just singular. Because I don't want to talk about that. But Batman specifically, yeah, I haven't fucked with any of the Snyder things, but I think the last ones were any of the Nolans.
That's what I was saying.
But I also, I love Batman, like, for some fucking reason. Like, as a kid, I was never, like, super into, like, superhero movies besides, like, Spider-Man or whatever.
Sure.
But, like, Batman, I was like, he has no powers. He's just very rich and very sad and dresses up as a bat and fights crime, I guess. And so, like, I read, like, Batman comics growing up, and, like, I watched,
dope.
like, the animated series. Like, that show fucking actually slaps so hard. The first episode is literally just called Man Bat, where they have the opposite of Batman, which is just a man who is also a bat, but, like, just a human-sized bat, essentially. It's nuts. So I, like, fucks with the character of Batman. I don't know why, because he's, like, the worst, but I have, like, an affinity in my heart for some reason.
No, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I also think that the last Batman property that I watched was also, like, the Dark Knight trilogy. And I think that last one came out, like, literally a decade ago.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch any of the Snyder ones, and I'm not counting, like, any of the Harley Quinn stuff, like, just Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those ones made me love Batman.
Yeah, totally.
And I definitely didn't want to watch any of the Snyder stuff because I was like, fuck this dude.
Yeah, this guy, I'm sure he's fine or whatever, but his fans on Twitter make me hate him.
They do.
They're so annoying on Twitter.
And the only Zack Snyder thing that I've seen is 300. And I would like to keep it that way. Just because I think that to me encapsulates his personality. But I was unsure of how this movie was going to go. Just because I'm very bored by origin movies for any sort of superhero. And I think that one thing that I can take away from this movie is it very clearly feels like it's setting up for some sort of trilogy.
Right.
Or at least some sort of sequel. But I'm grateful that it was not an origin movie.
Yeah, I really liked that because you're really just like, I saw some tweets of being like, how does, this guy not realize that this Batman is Bruce Wayne? They never even like talk about why they're friends in this movie. And I'm like, it gives you don't even have to be like familiar with the lore of Batman or whatever, but like it's very clear, like the emotional relationships and like the weird thing, like they just drop you in like the middle of a thing, right? And it's just like, okay, this is how this is unfolding. Like you understand that like Batman's working with like the FBI and shit, and then there's also like these other things going on that are just like understood. So that was like very frustrating to me of being like, why does everything have to be like, and here's how they first met and got jobs together? And it's like, no, fuck it, I don't want you to tell me the story, I want to be in the story.
And that's just not my favorite way of storytelling in general.
Yeah,
I would much prefer it the way that this works, where you drop in, it exists, and then they do tell you more about his story, but it's through flashbacks, which is what I think it's done, it's played out, it's boring.
Yeah,
and
over
I think
it.
That one thing that I think that this story also does well is that it happens over like a week.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
Right.
But also I think that it sets up an interesting story moving forward, because then if there's I mean, I'd be wild if they didn't have another movie based on how this ends.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that you were able to do like a time skip
Yeah.
from
totally.
there and be like, here's another week in my life. I'm
Right. Hey guys, welcome back to my vlog.
That's my weekly vlog. I'm Bruce Wayne.
Underscored by
Bugs.
deafening or like by very loud Ave Maria blasting under.
Okay, Cody.
Like,
What? This movie had such a budget.
yeah.
There was no amount of money that Matt Reeves could not have had for
Right.
this. And he got literally like Michael Giacchino. You are going to get a man who knows how to make an incredibly sad score. And he does it well.
Yeah.
He does it well. But you are going to spend your money, Matt Reeves, on Colin Farrell, who we don't even recognize.
Right. Could have been any guy.
Who spent most of his time in prosthetics, could have been literally any man. Choose any man. Choose any man with an accent. And the 2 songs that you license are
Right. This
Ave
movie
Maria.
has 2 songs.
Has
Period.
literally 2 songs. Ave Maria and then the fucking Nirvana song.
Yeah.
And he
That's it.
plays...
This movie is 3 hours long and has 2 songs.
Does he get his money's worth? Absolutely. But what this tells me about Matt Reeves is that if he went to a skating rink as a kid, he would have requested the same song like 16 times.
Yeah.
And fuck this dude. Like,
Matt Reeves, are you okay? I know the answer is no.
and the answer is no.
But I just want to check in, bud. Like, I'm worried for you.
No one who plays Ave Maria like
7,000 times.
over a 3-hour movie in every possible method of its composition could
Right.
possibly be okay.
No.
Go to therapy like the rest of us, Matt Reeves. What
Some
in
dudes will just
God's-
play Ave Maria 1,000 times in a movie instead of going to therapy.
Honest to God. At the first time made sense. The
Sure.
second time I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Symbolism.
Right.
The
A motif,
third
if you
time-
will.
A motif, yes, a motif. The third time I rolled my eyes. Cody, by the 8th time, I started to get up. Each time I got so angry. Because that is not, do you think that your audience is unable to understand what's happening? We get it. Thank you.
Enough, Matt.
I was so viscerally mad. Oh my God.
Something that was like very jarring a little bit to me about this movie. I will say also that I really like this movie. I feel like we haven't talked about it. If we
Yeah, no, I liked this. I
movie.
liked this movie.
I like this movie quite a bit. I had a great time. Something that was very jarring to me is that like there were so many locations that they filmed
That
this
were
in
not New York.
that were right. Like it just and like obviously I recognize a lot of it because a lot of it was in Chicago and like I saw those trains. I was like, hell yeah, baby! Like this is my city, baby. But then it just like switched to New York and Gotham Square Garden, and then also seemingly London. I would
And
assume.
then very much London. Yeah.
And then very much London, and it just like, and I'll commend Matt Reeves for being able to like, because it's everything just like moves so fast and like it's all kind of in quick succession. Like it's not super noticeable unless you like are very familiar or like are just like looking for it, I guess. So it kind of like flows in a way, but I was just like kind of like going back and forth, thinking like, what is Gotham? Gotham is 3 metropolitan cities that are all color graded to look the same.
Gotham is so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree. I think that the way that Gotham has been described in other Batman pieces is that it is like maybe 20 blocks. And
Right,
Matt Reeves
yeah.
is like, what if Gotham is New York?
Right.
All of it.
And yeah, all of it. And like not to say that this hasn't been done in previous Batman films. Like the Nolan ones like are in Chicago a lot of time and in New York a lot of time and they're like it's the same city. But like the way this was done specifically, it was just like made it seem like the biggest city in the world. Like it just made it seem huge.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that as much as this movie, I enjoyed this movie. This movie also made me angry. And I think that I knew that going into it, primarily because of who the villain was going to be.
Right.
And that is twofold, right? One, the Riddler. And I don't like puzzles, and I don't like riddles.
That's already a threat to me, specifically.
Yeah, and I don't like serial killers who are bad Twitch streamers.
Yeah. That's completely fair.
One thing that I did find interesting, I mean, I knew, one of the only things I think I knew about the Riddler going into this was people were talking about how he had like 500 followers.
Right, it's like he's a menace. he's gonna take over the whole city.
Society. What I did not realize was that was a pull quote from the movie. Yeah, like one of the cops looks at the computer and he looks at Batman and he's like, he's got like 500 followers.
What are we gonna do?
I think that the Riddler frustrates me because I get it. I get what he's doing. But being a vigilante doesn't work. And I think that you should know when you are living in a city with the Batman.
Right.
That does not work. What I found profoundly scarier than the Riddler was just Paul Dano.
Yeah, he is like very hard to watch in this movie. He's very good at doing that kind of guy, right? But it is like, ooh.
Like the last 50 minutes or like the last hour of this movie,
right,
when he becomes unmasked, made me realize that Paul Dano should have been cast in Mindhunter. Because what was weird about this movie is like everyone else looks like they are in the present, 2022, whatever.
Right.
Paul Dano looks like a 1970s serial killer.
Yeah, totally.
And it took me out of the movie because the whole time I was looking at him, I was like, one, the way that you sing and you scream scares the shit out of me, and I don't think you're acting.
Right.
But also, why were you not cast as a serial killer in like a 1970s crime thing?
Yeah. He's giving like very much like Jack Nicholson level of unsettling, dude.
Yes.
Like, ugh.
Oh,
God, it gave me the ick, you know?
It did. I was so physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's just...
I will say, there's like something about this movie and the Riddler specifically is like kind of confounding to me, like in its like assumed politics, right? Because the assumption here, I know Matt Reeves has been like, it's, you know, however you take it, whatever, which like, okay. But like the assumption here is that like he's kind of like this pseudo alt-right kind of vehicle, right?
Yeah.
On web forums trying to like get rid of corrupt stuff, which is the thing at the end. Like that is the kind of the motion of it at the end. But in the beginning, it's kind of just like, I'm just like Batman. We're both vigilantes. And really, I'm just going after like very abusive systems of power, right? Like corrupt DAs, corrupt cops, like all these things. Which is like, you know, it's not like something, that's obviously not like
what vigilantes do. Yeah.
Right, exactly. In that vein, right? But like, and this kind of strange because like we have this sort of strong thing in the beginning and the Riddler's sort of absent for most of the middle of the movie. Yes. And then like at the end, he's like, oh, I'm mobilizing this like mob of people on twitch.tv that are going to bomb the city and, you know.
Doing my greatest fear.
And yeah,
in
and
the
like.
Last hour.
Right, for sure. And like, you know, take down this new mayor-elect and, you know, make sure the city realizes how corrupt it is,
Yeah.
right? But like those two things feel like, I don't know, there's something about it that feels like kind of an easy shoehorn at the end of being like, oh, this guy is just
100%.
like bad. You know what I mean? Because like he's playing by the same playbook of vigilantism, which, as we know, does not really work, right? And Batman is like, this is not how I should be doing this. I'm gonna like, you know, help kids out of the city and make them fly up in a helicopter or whatever, make sure they're safe.
Agreed.
But
And I
like,
think that's what was so confusing about the end of this is what I got from not just this movie, because it starts off this way too, but the end of this, it felt like Bruce realizes that he was like, am I the drama?
Literally.
He was like, I destroyed the city. Literally and also metaphorically, by trying to think that like I saved it, right?
Right. And like,
and so to have the Riddler start off by saying, I'm going to remove corrupt people, which is what Bruce was doing, which is why the Riddler was like, we are the same, which like that's what every villain does in these.
Right. It's like, you're just like me.
to turn at the end and be like, well, actually I'm all right, felt like a safe,
right. And something that doesn't actually confront with the fact that they are not the same, right? Because the Riddler is going after systems of power, right? And the Batman has never ever gone against the system. You know what I mean? Like, he is actively working with the FBI in this situation. Obviously, he is the system, right? He's incredibly wealthy, has only seen crime as something to be vengeful for, and it's something that can be, and it is based on individual actors and not corrupt systems of power, right? And that's his whole thing. Like, he just like fights like he'll fight villains like the Joker or whatever, but like most of the times he's like beating the shit out of like drug dealers or murderers or people doing spray paint or whatever. Like that whole first scene or whatever where they see the bat signal and all these people just doing like petty crimes are like shitting in their boots and like running away, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, in order to like not confront that part of Batman, which is actually interesting, it's like, oh, let's just put this like kind of scapegoat thing on it in a way of being like, oh, this is the guy because he's going after, whereas like you could be going after in your own way, not like that, because that seems not ideal. But like, he is embedded in this justice system or whatever, and it's still being like going after maybe like bad faith actors or whatever, instead of like actually having this reconciling. He does have a reconciliation with vengeance as something, but against, you know, I don't know, not having a broader picture, I guess, of the whole thing, which is like what's cool about Batman.
And I feel like that is the part that frustrated me, is like Matt he literally ended this movie with Bruce and Selina being in a cemetery. Mm-hmm. And Selina's there for a different reason, but I feel like Bruce is there, and you could have that be as like him killing off and killing off the part of him that was like vengeance, right? Because that was the word that they kept using throughout all of this.
Yeah.
And like in him being part of this system of power. But I feel like the ending got botched, and that was what was kind of weird for me.
Yeah. I'm just curious because it obviously seems like it's teeing up to something, right? As you noted.
Sure.
But like, what would another Batman movie with that ending look like? Like, what is that setting up for? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm just like, what's the next plan? Like, what does he do next? You know? Very.
I don't know.
How did you feel about Miss Kravitz in this?
Okay, so I loved Zoe. She has no reason to be as hot as she is.
Yeah.
I am very, people smacking their gum, big ick for me.
Yeah.
Some reason her doing it, hot.
Okay.
I'm fine with it, actually.
Wow. Great. Love this development for you.
I thought that I love her.
Yeah.
But I also thought that it was interesting. I really liked her scene in the club with the DA.
Yeah.
Not only because that's when we start to find out, like, really why Bruce wears those, like, contacts, because they record.
Oh, yeah. All the technology in this is, like, so fun.
It is, and it helps us realize that, like, Bruce isn't just a fucking nerd, but, like, he has a purpose to things, whereas,
right.
like, I've always been content with Bruce just being a nerd who's rich.
Right.
Which is fine. But I thought that it was really interesting to see the difference between Selena and Bruce. Because in that moment, she was, like, fine with listening to him, because, like, also listening to Rob in my ear would be so distracting.
Right.
So, but I thought that it was incredibly interesting that, like, he just absolutely could not focus when she was around, which was cute. But also the dynamic between Selena and I can never remember his name, so I just keep calling him Irv. Because I know him from Severance.
Irving. He's so good at this, too.
He's so good in it for no reason. I feel like I only knew that Colin Farrell was in this, and I was like, oh yeah, the Penguin's going to be important. And then it's like fucking Irv from Severance is in this.
And you're like,
he's so important.
He's so incredibly important.
And also, by the way, the fucking police chief is Blackbeard's, like, right-hand man.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know these people even existed until, like, a couple months ago. And now they're just here.
Right.
How did you feel about Zoe?
I think she was great. Yeah, I think obviously was gay in this,
Oh
right?
my God,
like,
yeah.
Her friend, R.I.P.
Her
But
yeah.
like, just that one scene where, you know, he's like looking in her room and she's like freaking out and stuff, and they're like being like, okay, it's good, we're gonna get out of here kind of vibe. It's like they were literally just like, if they just moved in a centimeter more, they would be kissing, you know? Like, it just seemed very fruity to me. But
Agreed.
Whatever, Matt Reeves is a coward and doesn't want to see them kiss, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, I thought she was really good. I thought, you know, their relationship was very interesting. Like you said, like kind of like foils of the same kind of vibe, you know? And her being Irv's daughter, like from...
It's so wild.
The backstory is like very interesting. Yeah, I love the whole like sort of double agent kind of vibe of like going in the club and stuff. And picking up info, but also being like, fuck you, I'm not here for you, I'm doing my own shit. Like, I'll do whatever I want.
I want to know all of your feelings about Robert.
Oh, our boy. Every time he was not in a suit, he looked so sad.
He did. He was such a sad boy.
He was so emo. And like, it's just which is always kind of like the wild little juxtaposition of things, of him just like tinkering in his little basement or whatever with his eyeliner and his swoopy little hair, and like going back and like, you know, listening to the same video clips 4 times and like reimagining his tragic parents' death or whatever, just to feel something. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was good. Like, I didn't even notice his accent, which is great. I thought also one of the things I really loved about him in this is like the first maybe 10 minutes of the movie was a comedy to me.
Yes, agreed.
Was so fucking funny. Like that first instance where the mayor is dead, right? Whoa, oh God, what's gonna happen? And they're like, we got to get our boy the Batman in on this. And he's just kind of like standing, being so big in his silly little boots and his silly little suit that's massive. And he's just kind of like standing there. And one of these cops is like, excuse me. That shit had me laughing for like 5 minutes. It was so
100%.
fucking good. Because he's just like so menacing. Because when he's just standing there, he's not doing anything. He's just like a big,
so
beefy
awkward.
dude. He's just so awkward. And just the suit makes him like 5,000 feet tall. He's just like, just standing there. It's so hilarious to me. Just watching him navigate in the suit is very funny. I am still flummoxed the fact that Batman has a cape when we all know capes. No
we
capes.
all know capes. Fuck
We all know
up.
cape's bad. We all know cape's bad. But watching him do his little like magic turns with it was very fun for me.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think he played the Batman and Sir Bruce very fun. Like I had a lot of fun with it. Of him just being a little moody little shit, which is like his whole brand, you know? Just
Truly.
being sad and just tinkering with his expensive little gadgets and trying to solve crimes.
And that's why it's never really made sense for me that Bruce Wayne is this like playboy extraordinaire. And it's like
Right.
that is very much not who the like vibe that Bruce gives off.
Right.
He is rich. He doesn't like to be around people.
Right.
And he's canonically very sad.
Yes. Right.
And I think that Robert shows that perfectly.
All of those things. And Alfred tries so hard. He's like, "Hey, you gonna come outside today?" And he's like, "No, I have things to do." And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna make an appearance?" And he's like, "Take my cufflinks." Like this man, this boy, this child is not a playboy. He is a sad little guy who
No, he
wants
only
to be
goes
alone
outside
all the time.
when he has to, which is why I loved in that like funeral scene when they're like when the mob bosses are like, "What the fuck are you doing outside?" Like,
Right.
you come out less than I do, the mob boss.
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
I
so
love
good.
it. I also loved the beginning of this because in the trailer they made such a big deal about that like fight scene when he's like, "I'm vengeance."
Right.
And it's literally the first time that we see him, and he's just being a little butt, and
Just being a nuisance on
He
the
is.
on the train. On the train
On the-
platform.
on Halloween, and it's like,
Yeah.
homie, stop.
Yeah. Hey. Buddy.
And I agree. I did not realize when I had seen the suit before how big his platform boots were, and he just looks so awkward all the time.
It looks so uncomfortable.
around all of these detectives, and it's like, of course he would need to just stand in the corner. Like, he's just the weird, here in the way, he probably feels in the way.
Yeah, he's just
probably
like, I'm taking up
tired
too
of
much
solving
space.
Yeah.
I just want to go sleep.
Right, exactly. One of the things, there was a scene that I really liked, which was when he first goes in as Batman into the club. And it was one of the, I guess it was like the second fight scene that we see, when it's like between him and the guy in the club with the bat. And it's just all of this like very generic dance music in the club. But it was amazing to see.
Ugh.
I enjoyed Rob a lot as Bruce. I think that he did a really good job understanding how unhealed Bruce is.
Yes.
And I think that one of the times when I saw that a lot was every time that he looked very longingly at like the almost mayor's kid
Yeah.
who kept showing up.
Yeah. It's like, you're me. I know what you've
You're
been
me.
through. 20 years from the past and the future.
Every time that he interacted with Alfred, I got very sad.
Yeah.
And also the thing that frustrated me, and I understand why they did this for plot reasons, but we see in the movie that Alfred is helping Bruce with some of the puzzles and ciphers.
Yes.
So I got very angry when Alfred opened that package from the Riddler,
Yeah.
because it's the same handwriting. And I feel like Alfred would know at this
Right.
point,
Hey, bud.
hey, maybe don't, this is probably not the first criminal who's sent something.
Right.
And also you should know this handwriting. You're very intelligent.
Right.
So
This is probably bad, so don't.
Yeah. Probably don't do
I
that.
will say, who the fuck is the Riddler's card guy? You know what I mean?
Okay, listen.
Who is making these custom ass cards? Is he doing it? Does he have a guy?
Yeah,
What?
is he commissioned someone on Etsy to do
Right,
this?
is there some poor like person on Etsy just like making
gonna
these
get-
very menacing little fucking greeting cards?
And they're going to be tracked down by the FBI now. And this poor
Right.
Etsy seller has no idea. They're not getting paid enough for this.
Right, and this poor person's assumingly working on a very tight turnaround every time, you know?
Yeah, they're like, you need to send this overnight to me.
Right. Because the detail in all of them were fabulous, like very scary, but like, God, this poor Etsy seller probably just gonna get fucked in the FBI.
The FBI is gonna fucking raid this Etsy seller's house and be like, you are like culpable for New York flooding. And they're like, first of all, stop.
First of all,
Second
all
of
of my
all-
papers are wet anyway. I got fucked.
Yeah. And second of all, I don't know this man's name every time that he orders, and he doesn't even tip me, so fuck you.
So fucked off. Yeah.
Is a cipher itself. How was I supposed to know that when you rearrange all the letters, it says the Riddler?
Yeah. That's not my job.
It's not my
I make
job.
greeting
I just
cards.
fulfill orders.
Yeah.
Jesus.
God.
Anyway, very weird.
Yeah.
Very specific cards.
Yeah. Also, the Batmobile,
Oh
Very
my god,
sexy.
it was so hot.
very sexy. Which, like,
Yes.
it should be. It always should be very sexy. But
They really waited until like almost the end to show that, but goddamn, that was a reveal though.
yeah, that whole scene of just that car chase was very intense, but very cool also.
That was wild. Oh my god, the last thing that I felt like I wrote down in my notes. There was a part that I thought was really weird. It was like one of the last things that Bruce needed to figure out for the Riddler. And it was that chat. It was like that chat service that they were using.
Yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't a chat service, but it was like a website that he went to that was like really old school. And that was so the tension between the two.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like, guys, just kiss already, okay?
Yeah. And that was the thing. So I watched the deleted scene that that the Batman has on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Because of their Joker or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I was like, who the fuck is this friend? Like,
right, in the cell. Like,
in Arkham.
yeah.
And I feel like I understand why they cut that, because it really kind of cuts to the chase of what's happening. But I think that I would have liked to see that scene.
Yeah, this movie is already 3 fucking
3
hours
hours
long.
long.
You can add 4 extra minutes or whatever. Like,
Exactly.
I think it's fine. Like,
And I get it. They want that, like, Joker reveal at the end, because, like,
Sure.
ooh. But I think that it really gets to the point of the two of them are foils for each other.
right.
So it was wild that they didn't have that
Yeah.
in there. Wild stuff.
Ah.
But overall, I would say that I liked it.
Yeah, I had a really good time with it. I honestly, it moved pretty fast for me, even though it was
Yeah.
a whole chunk of my night. But like, I really dug what Mr. Reeves is doing, even though he needs to go to therapy and
Oh my god.
talk to a human being and stop torturing us for his unresolved traumas. But you know what? I had blast, and I think Robert is really good, and I think if he does this again, and if they do another one, which I'm assuming they will, I'm very interested to see where they take Mr. Batman.
Yeah, I'm glad that I broke it up over 2 nights.
Yeah, that's probably a good strat, actually.
But I think that I'm glad that I watched it.
Yeah.
And I am glad that I did not see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Because I would have just been yelling the entire time.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, but overall, it was a good film. So, I would recommend watching it.
Hell yeah.
So, I think it's worth being able to see Robert in eyeliner, if nothing else.
I mean, he's serving in that. It's a shame that the actual bat mask or whatever, it's like so tight on his eyes, so you can really only see like the whites of his eyes. But whenever he's mask off, he is emo as shit, and I love it.
He is. Yeah. Yeah. It's very good. Yeah. Yeah, I would say the 3.5 out of 5 bats with wings.
Yeah,
Rats
that
with
sounds
wings.
great. Rats with wings.
That's what it was. Rats with wings. Next week, we get into book 4
Oh my god.
of Vampire Academy.
What's gonna happen?
Fucking stressed, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Rose gonna kill her boyfriend, maybe. Who knows?
I'm so stressed. But we have some very exciting and lovely patrons to thank. Would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Hold on. I'm in another tab. Thank you to Katie Black.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Kylie Minty.
Thank you to Alex Dornan.
Ooh. Thank you to Carrie Goldberg.
Thank you to Rebecca Cullen.
Ooh. Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia.
Ooh. Thank you to Cassandra Bomer.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Thank you to Cassandra O'Shea.
O'Shea. Thank you to Clara Belikov.
Thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Hannah Dragomir.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Hope Castile.
Ooh. Thank you to Rachel Ashford.
Thank you to Abby Ivashkov.
Ooh. Thank you to Maddie Facinelli.
Thank you to Samara Rinaldi.
Ooh. Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Thank you to my mom, your mom, all of our moms, Kelly Beck.
Ooh. Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Thank you to Laura Forty.
Ooh. Thank you to Dan Deklos.
Thank you to Maria Swan.
Ooh. Thank you to India Peach.
Ooh. And last but not least, thank you to Emily Ozera.
Oh, shit. So I have a fan fiction here.
Ooh.
This was sent in by one of our patrons, India Peach.
Hell yeah. Thank you, India Peach.
This is by the author Menagerie of Darkness.
Okay.
And this is titled Waluigi's Supermassive Black Hole.
I have some questions up from the jump here.
Here is our summary.
Oh.
After getting into a secret relationship with the mysterious Edward Cullen, Waluigi finds himself invited to one of the Cullens' favorite pastimes, baseball. Will he be able to impress his love's family, and will their relationship heat up further? Yes, this is happening, and yes, in this house, we stand Luigi.
Okay. All right. Strap in, folks.
This was published in February of last year, so I'm going to be reading just a selection. As Edward celebrated his victory like the awkward robot he was, Jasper made his way to Waluigi, grabbing him by his jersey. "We could have gotten him. Why didn't you catch the ball?" He screamed only like a former Confederate would. Waluigi winced, unsure whether or not the man was about to punch him or passionately kiss him like two sex-deprived athletes. He even pursed his gently moistened lips in case the latter happened, but he never got the chance to find out as Edward quickly rushed to his defense. "Jasper, get your racist ass out of here." Edward ripped his adopted brother from Waluigi like he was breaking apart a wishbone. Waluigi shuddered as Edward's iron-like grip tightened around his shoulder, threatening to shatter his clavicle into dust. The mere thought of it almost made his cock smile in appreciation. "Are you all white?" "No, oh no. Are you all right, Waluigi?" Edward stared deep into his eyes, concern marring his features. Wow. Waluigi quickly nodded. Although it was the only word he could articulate, it held as much meaning as it needed to. Still, not everyone was willing to find the secret message encoded into each wah that erupted from his throat like a dying rubber duck. That is, until he met Edward. The vampire seemed to get him, even from the very beginning. That's good. He ruffled Waluigi's mustache. Then let's get back into the game. End scene.
I am
India,
so glad.
why?
Why does this exist? But also, thank you. Also, incredible Waluigi acting there. That was
Thank you so much.
was very good.
India, fuck you. And also thank you for sending that over. If that is your something, that is available on Archive of Our Own. Hugo Award winning.
Hell yeah.
Well, folks, I need to go shower.
Yeah.
Or just get that off of my body. And kind of cleanse myself from that energy. You have so many different recommendations from us this week.
Hell yeah.
Abercrombie and Fitch, The Bedman, Choose Your Fighter. You have time now to get your book from the library, tell a
Yes.
friend, get a
Hell
reading
yeah.
partner.
Let everyone you know.
Yep, for next week. And as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
Get bit.
and get whipped.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.